Alright, welcome back in everyone. This is Programmer Plays Master Key. We are continuing on the nonograms. We have done nonograms 1 through 35, and we're gonna get in straight away today to nonogram 36. This one is 9 wide and 10 tall, so that means that we've got this 7 here only has a wiggle room of 2. That's a start. That does tell us that this 4 here can't reach this far. That doesn't help us horizontally any. We do have a 1 and a 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This would be the farthest left arrangement that the 6 could go. There would be space, and then the 1 of these places, or 1 space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we know that all of those are filled in. And then similar to above, or to the left, we know that this can't reach all this way vertically. This does also give us a little bit of clarity on these other bits here. We know that we can't reach the 4 down to here because the 4 now comes up to here. 4 space, 1 space, 1. So just like how we did the 1 and the 6, there's some wiggle room on there. 1 space, 1 space, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, space, 1, space, 1. Or some other variation of the spacing around the 1s. But we know that these 3 are filled in. That then in turn tells us, okay, these can't be filled in. That can't reach to there. Okay. Doesn't give us a ton more. Actually, okay, here we go. We've got a vertical 2, 2. Well, this is 2 in here. So we know that that's got to have a blank there. That in turn actually does tell us our 1s on this row. We know that this has to be filled in and this has to be filled in because we couldn't fill in here. The 4 can still wiggle by a pixel, but we know where those are. And so that now gives us an upper and lower bound for our 4 over here. That's great. We also now have a completely filled in column here because it's 1 and 1. We've already got 2 pixels filled in. So because of that, we now know that this 6 has to be here. Great. Looking horizontally, we've got a 2 and a 2. We know that the 2 can't exist here because there's not room. We also know that the 2 can't fit there, which means that it has to be here on this one. That then we can turn to our vertical 4. We know that it has to be there. That lets us fill in our horizontal 7 here. We've only got 1 pixel of wiggle room now. That lets us know, yep, this can't be, the 4 vertically can't reach to here. The horizontal 2 has to be here, and there's also a horizontal 2 that has to be here because of that fill-in that we did earlier. Okay, going a step further, we know that this vertical 2, 2, one of the 2's can't fit there. It's only 1 pixel of space. And we've got a vertical 4 here that has to go there, which fills out this, which means that this vertical 2 has to be here. The horizontal or the vertical 2, 2 means that one of the 2's has to have a pixel here, the other one has to be here. So it could reach down to here, or here. So that means that this one has to be here or here. We can close that off because we know that that's there. That tells us, okay, this 4 has to be here. And we can also figure out these other 4's. So that now tells us this horizontal 4, which gives us a lower bound for our 2 there. We can X these out because we know we've got those rows completely filled in. You know that this 1 has to be here, which completes our column, which means that our 7 has to be there. And it's a... what actually am I looking at? Chair? I'm guessing that's a chair. That's nonogram 36 on to nonogram 37. Alright, this one is 13 wide and 12 tall. We've got, right off the bat, a 0, so we can go ahead and X that completely out. We've also got, up here at the top, a 13. That's completely filled in. So that's great. That gives us a lot of information. We then have these vertical 10s, which we can completely fill in because we've got that zeroed out row. Looking at our verticals, we've got a bunch of 1s. We've got a 10 there, which we could go ahead and fill in as well. Alright. Horizontal 1 there, horizontal 3, horizontal 2, and 1s. We've got another 13 here. We can go ahead and fill in. Looking horizontal on our right side, we've got a bunch of 1s here. We've got this horizontal 11, which has 2 pixels wiggle room, so we can go ahead and fill that in. That also does give us some lower edges. So looking at this vertical 1, 2, 2, 1, we know that this is the 1, this has to be the 2. So that fill in then means that this has to be the other 2. And we've completed that column. And then kind of the same story over here. There's not room for a 2 right here, so that's got to be here. 1 and a 1, which actually lets us X out that column. Great. We got another 1 and a 2 and a 3, a 1. And so now looking horizontally, we've got a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. This has to be a 2, this has to be a 1, this has to be a 2. We can switch back to our verticals here. This calls for a 2, so we can X that out. That then tells us we've got a horizontal 1, 1, 2. This has to be the 2, and this has to be the 1, because vertically that has to be blacked out. We've got a vertical 2 here, so we can close that off. Close this off because we know that we're done there. We've got a horizontal 3, so we can close that off. This is a vertical 2. Completed that row. Know that this has to be part of the 2 horizontally, so we're done there. We've got a vertical 2 there, so that completes that. We've got a vertical 2. There's only 2 pixels available to us, so that's got to go there. Boy, I missed earlier that these 2 edges are X'd out, so that means that we can complete these, and all we got to do now is figure out where the 1s live here. We know that it can't be there because that's a horizontal 2, which means that it has to be here. And we've got a window, maybe? I think. Yeah, I'll go with window. Alright, on to nonogram 38. Alright, this one's 15 wide by 13 tall. Oosh. 15 wide does mean that we have pretty limited knowledge about what's definitely filled in. We can assume that this 9, there's no way that the 9 doesn't cover up those middle 3 pixels. And so then, extrapolating from there, we've got these vertical 3s. That means that these 3 have to be filled in, which we could pretty much surmise anyways, because we've got horizontal 2, 5, 2, so that's, the 5's probably going to be here in the middle. The other 5 is probably also going to be here in the middle, but we just don't know that yet. Let's see what else we can come up with. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I think that only fits one way. Yeah, so there we go. That completes that row, and that actually tells us a lot, because we've got these columns on the side here that lets us X that out. So that then gives us a little more strength with our 9 here. That's good. And same way we did earlier, where we've got that vertical 3, we know that this one has to be filled in. And we actually know even more than that, because we know that this pixel can't be filled in, because then it would be a 4. So that has to be X'd there, and that means this has to be filled in, which means that we know that there's nothing here, because it couldn't reach with the 5, and we know that there's nothing past here, so it couldn't reach with the 5. Can actually go a step further still. Looking at this vertical 3 here, we know that it couldn't fit right here, because then it would be a 4, so this has to be X'd out. Same story right here. That gives us even more confidence with our 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's really good news, because now we can look at these vertical 1s and say those have got to be the vertical 1s, which gives us a left edge for this 5. Now we know where that 5 is. We can close out these 3s. That gives us a top edge for this 3. Great. And we've also got a top edge for this vertical 3. Also, so that's a 1 right there. You can look at this horizontal 3, 3, 2. There's room for a 3 in here, as long as this pixel's filled in. There's not room for a 3 and a 2 over here, so these 2 pixels have to be filled in for that 3, 3, 2. That gives us a top edge for the vertical 2 there and here. Great. We also pretty much have confirmation that this horizontal 2, 5, 1, that's part of the 5 right there. Oop, doesn't help us, but it's information all the same. We can actually finish out this column. There we go. That's our 3, 3, 3, 1. And looking at our horizontal 1, we can close this out completely. Beautiful. Excuse me. Let's see what else we can figure out. Alright, so we've got this vertical 1, 3, 2. We've got the 1, so this has to be part of the 3, which means that this has to be filled in. That then tells us, alright, these have to be part of the same 3 over here, which means that we can X that out. This over here then lets us, this pixel right here, we look at our vertical 3, 2, that has to be our part of our 3. That now tells us, alright, our 9 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've only got 1 pixel wiggle room left on our 9. That lets us close off that, and we could have figured this X out anyways by looking at our horizontal 5. Oh well. We can look at our horizontal 2 there and say, alright, that has to go there, which now gives us our vertical 3. Beautiful. What else can we figure out? We can infer, we've got this horizontal 3 here, so that's going to have to come to at least here. And that then lets us look at our vertical 2, 1, 2. There's not room for a 2 up here, so that has to go there. That then gives us the edge for our 9 that we've been needing. Lets us close that out. That lets us close that out. That lets us close that out. Now this 2 has to go over here. We can look at our vertical 3. That has to go there. There's still a little bit of wiggle room with this horizontal row here, but if we look at this vertical 2, 1, that has to be part of our 2, so now we know that that 3's over there. Beautiful. Still don't know this. We can look at this vertical 1, 2, 2. No, we can't. Never mind. But we can look at our horizontal 3, 3, 2. We can't fit a 2 right here, so this 2 has to go here. That now tells us, looking at our vertical 1, 2, 2, that's our 2 right there. We've got our vertical 2 here, so that has to go there, which means that that has to be closed out, which means that our 1 has to be here, which means that our vertical 3 can be closed out there. We've got a vertical 2 here, which can be closed out. We've got a vertical 1, which can be closed out. Beautiful. That means that our horizontal 2, 5, 1, this has to be the 2 in that. And that lets us close out a lot of that column. And we've got this vertical 3, 2 that we can close out. That lets us complete this part of the 2 horizontally. Also on this road, our 2, 5, 1 horizontally, our 5 can only fit here. Looking vertically, we've got vertical 3, 1, 1, 2. This has to be one of our 1s. Same story right here. That means now we can't fit a 2 right here, so we can close that out. The 1 could be anywhere in here. But looking vertically, we've got vertical 1, 1, 2. That has to be one of our 1s. Closed out right there. Okay. Getting close. This lower part does get a little wonky though. Help me. How else can we extrapolate this? I mean, I feel super likely that this is, it's not symmetric, but it's close to symmetric. But alright, let's do this. 1, 2, space, 1, space. No, we could potentially still have everything on the right side of this. That's wild. Making any strong choices about that? Wait, I kind of have painted myself into a corner here where there's nothing, nothing super strong that I can do. I kind of just have to guess, which is a little agonizing because we're so close. Like closing out one row would really help us. Okay, here we go. Gosh, I should have known. Always go for the corners. So vertical 2, 1, 2. So this has to be part of our 2, and then we can close that out. And so now horizontal 2, that has to be there. We've got a vertical 2 here. That closes that out. Got a horizontal 2 there, vertical 2, gotta be there, horizontal 2, gotta be there, vertical 2, gotta be there, horizontal 2, gotta be there. Alright, so now this has to be closed off to complete the 1. This has a horizontal 1, so that has to be closed off. This column is complete, so we can close that off. This column needs one more 1, so that goes there, which now means that we know that that's our 3 right there. This column needs one more 1, so that's that. That completely closes off that row. Beautiful. This column needs 2, so that finishes that off. That then finishes this row off. This row calls for a 2, so that finishes it off. Vertical 2, horizontal 2, vertical 2, horizontal 2, vertical 1. So it's a nice diamond. Alright, we're going to skip nonogram 39 for now because I'm missing something about how it works. Yeah. So, moving on to nonogram 40. Right, we're 11 wide and 13 tall, so we got several solid rows here that we just go ahead and fill in. Because we're 11 wide, we can fill in this 9 a solid bit. That does also let us know that this column is mostly done. We can, in fact, go ahead and fill these 4 in because there's only 3 pixels of wiggle room on that 7. Looking at this 10, we've got a upper bound here, so now that means that we can at least fill in to here. There's going to be 1 pixel wiggle room down here. We'll figure it out later. With that in place, we actually can make some inferences about these horizontal 3-1-3s. We know that has to be 1 because there's only room for the 3 over here, and then there's 1 pixel wiggle room for this 3 over here. Looking vertically, we've also got this 4 over here, so we know that it can't go in any of those spots, which completes our 3 actually for this over here. Wonderful. That also answers for us where this horizontal 1-5-1 is. Just only room for it there. That actually tells us that this pixel here has to be filled in because of our vertical 7-2. There's no way to fit the 7 above this, so it has to be filled in here and here, which tells us that this can't be filled in because it just wouldn't reach. Now we're getting somewhere on our 5. Our 5 has 2 pixels of wiggle room left, so these 3 have to be filled in. That tells us that our 10 has to be stopping there. And we can also go ahead and fill in these are our 7s, which then lets us know that our horizontal 3 goes here. This can be filled in. That was a mistake on my part. So looking vertically again, we've got this vertical 5 here and here, so that completes also our horizontal 5. With that completed, we now can look at this vertical 4 and close that out. With that completed, we can look at our horizontal 2, 3, 2, which completes our vertical 4s here. Then lets us know where our 9 goes. With our 9 completed, we can close out these vertical 7s. And we can look at our vertical 4, 2 here and say, all right, that's where the 2 is. We got a vertical 4, 5, 4, so we can close that out. A vertical 7, 1, so we can close the 1 out. And we know that the 2 is going to have at least 1 pixel here. And then we basically are mirroring because these rows are the same. X that out. Now we can look at our horizontal 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. We know that these have to be 1s. So that can close that out. We know that this then has to be our 2. With that in place, we can close this out. That's all of our 1s, so we can close that out. That gives us our 2s here. And then we know that this has to be filled in because of our 5. There's only 2 pixels left here for our horizontals, and that leaves us with a pixel here and a pixel here. Bit of a nice little skull. All right, moving on to nonogram 41. 41. On here, we've got 11 wide and 12 tall. Alright, so we know we've got this horizontal 2, 1, 1, 3. So 1, 2, 3, space, 1, space, 1, space, 1, 2. We know that these pixels have to be filled in. It's good news because that then lets us X out some of these columns here because the 3s couldn't reach. That in turn lets us X out this and this. Because we couldn't fit a 3 or a 5 in there. Same with this 2 right here, and this 3 and 2 here. And the 2 here. We can look at our horizontal 3, 2 and know that these 2 pixels have to be filled in and this pixel has to be filled in based on our left and right arrangement. And that gives us at least some of our bottom 3 on this vertical 1, 3, 3. Same story here. Part of our bottom 3 on this vertical 1, 4, 3. That gives us a left and right out of bounds for this, which is great. Also, looking at our verticals, we've got this vertical 2 that wouldn't fit here or here, so that can close off. We can also look at our horizontal 5. We know that there's 2 pixels of wiggle room that can be in. Similarly, this one can only be in there. Still a little bit too much wiggle room there. We'll get that sorted out soon, though. Alright, so assuming this is lowest arrangement, 1, 2, 3, space, 1, 2, 3, 4, space, 1. Highest arrangement, 1, space, 1, 2, 3, 4. So our 4 has to overlap onto here. Unfortunately, it doesn't really tell us much, but it gives us something. Let's see if we can extrapolate any further down in here. No, not really. Alright, here we go. On this row, we've got 4 ones. So 1 space, 1 space, 1 space, 1. There's only one way to fit all that in there. We can also look at now our column here, our vertical 3, 3. These two can't be connected. And this couldn't reach up to here, and this one couldn't reach down to here. Almost the same story over here, but it's slightly not in the same alignment. Excuse me. I'm so used to working on symmetrical ones of these that I forget that all of them are. All right. I mean, we can kind of see it coming into play, but we can actually go a step further looking at our vertical. I slightly miscounted here. We know that this one doesn't. We can't. This 3 can only reach down to here, so it couldn't be here, which now tells us there's our 2 and 3. Great. So we can now look at our vertical for 3 and say, all right, that 3's got to come to at least here. Getting somewhere. Fortunately, it doesn't help us a ton. Well, actually, it does. It does. So our 3 couldn't reach up to here, and that's beyond the lower bound of our vertical 4. We know that that one's X'd out, which tells us this one has to be filled in, which now tells us this one has to be closed out, which in turn tells us this one has to be closed out because our horizontal 2 couldn't reach to here. That in turn tells us that this vertical 3 has to fill in this pixel, great, which tells us this horizontal 3 has to fill this one in, which in turn tells us that this is our completed vertical 3. Excellent. There. Some wiggle room on this one. Still could go either way on that. Lots of wiggle room there. Alright, what am I missing? Okay, here we go. Vertical 3. It's got an X below that, so that means that the top has to be there, which does complete this for us. Beautiful. That tells us that this pixel has to be filled in for our vertical 4, which then lets us close off our horizontal 2, which then gives us a lower edge for our vertical 3 here. That means that we know that this can't be here, which again sort of recurses back onto itself. Now our vertical 4 has to come down to at least here, which tells us that our horizontal 2 can't be here. That also tells us one of these 2 pixels has to be filled in for our vertical 1, 4, 3, because this couldn't be part of the 1, this has to be the 4. And that closes that off. and we can complete our 3 as well, which means that now we can complete our 2. With our 2 completed, we can look at the verticals again. We know that this has to be there because of the 2, this has to be there because of the 3. Similarly, we've got our vertical 2 there, which means that our horizontal 3 has to be here. Also got a horizontal 3 here that couldn't reach to here, which means that our vertical 3 here has to fill in that pixel. We've also got a right edge on this horizontal 3 and a left edge on this horizontal 3. So that row is completed. That then tells us this vertical 2 has to fill in this pixel, which tells us our horizontal 2 can't reach to here. That gives us an upper edge for this vertical 3. So that's done, which lets us close off that row. We can also finish out this horizontal 3, which now completes our vertical 2 and our vertical 3. We can look at our horizontal 2, 1, 1, 3. This has to be one of the ones, so that closes that off. We can look at our vertical 3, 2 and say, all right, we've got the 2 already. The 3 has to be one of these 2 pixels, which does let us know the only pixel left on this row goes here. That lets us finish off this column. We can't. Looking at this column, we know that it's closed off. Great. Looking at this column, we've got 1, 3, 3. This has to be one of the 3s because we couldn't fit the 1 and the 3 up here. We've got a horizontal 2, so that has to be filled in. Got a vertical 3, so this has to be filled in like that. We can close that out. We've got a horizontal 3, so we know that this can't be filled in, which lets us know that this has to be filled in to complete our vertical 1, 3, 3. Gives us a right edge for our 5 here. With our 5 closed out, we can look at this vertical 1, 4, 3, and we know that that's done. We know that this has to complete that 3, which means that this is done, which also completes our horizontal 2 there. We've got a vertical 4, which has to go there. Nice. The very slightly asymmetric crystal. Alright, moving on to nonogram 42. Alright. It is 12 wide and 13 tall. Well, we've got an 11 down here at the bottom, so we've only got 1 pixel of wiggle room there, so we can go ahead and fill all of those in, which is a really strong start because we can fill in the bottom row of a lot of these columns. So, vertical 4, 5, 6, 2, 1, 2, 6, 5, 4, and 3. That gives us a lot. Looking horizontally, we've got a 5 and a 5, so we know that that has to be closed off, and this has to be filled in. Boom. We've also got a horizontal 4 that has to be completed there, closed off here. That makes sense with our vertical 3, 3 on this last column. We've got a horizontal 4, 4. Couldn't fit a 4 here. Have to close that 4 out. Looking vertically again, we've got 2, 3, 2. We've already got the 2 in there, so this has to be our 3. We've got a horizontal 7, 1. Well, we couldn't fit 7 here, so the 7 has to be these, and there's only 1 pixel left, so it has to go there. That in turn tells us that our vertical 3, 3 on this last column can't fill in this pixel, has to be this one, which means that this can't be filled in there. Also gives us all of that. for our column, and we love edges. That closes off that 1. That tells us our 2 right there. Looking at this row again, we've got 1, 5, 1. These 2 have to be part of the 5. Looking vertically, we've got 1, 2, 1. That has to be part of the 2. We've got a 3, so that's still a little bit of ambiguity, but looking horizontally, we know that this has to be the pixel for that 4, so we can close out that 3. Looking vertically at this one, this has to be the rest of that 2, which lets us close all of this out. Can't do anything. Oh, alright, we can. We've got horizontal 3, 2. That has to be our 2 there, which now means vertically 2, 5. Has to be like that. Same story here. Horizontal 2 means that this has to be our vertical 2, which we can close out. Horizontal 2 gives us our 1, and we're closed out. With all that done, can I do anything with any of that? Looking vertically, we've got a 4. These 2 pixels have to be filled in for that vertical 4. What else can we fill in? Right. We know that this one is not filled in because we couldn't fit the 2, 1, 2 horizontally. So this has to be closed, which means that has to be the 1, which means that this has to be filled in. Does that help us? Not really with that. Alright, looking horizontally, we've got this horizontal 4, 2. This pixel has to be filled in for either of the 4s. Which I think we can extrapolate vertically. We need a vertical 2, 1, 5. We've got our 5, so this has to be either the 1 or the 2. If it was the 2, then there wouldn't be room left for the 1. So it has to be the 1, which means that there's not another 1, which means that the 2 has to use this pixel. That then lets us look at our horizontal 3 and say, alright, it can't reach over to here or to here. Doesn't super narrow it down. Starting to feel like I'm losing the plot a little bit. Alright, here we go. Horizontal 2, 2. This has to be one of the 2s. Vertical 3, 2, 3. We've already got our 3. This could be one of the, this has to be part of the 2, which could reach up to here, or down here, which means that this has to be part of the 3, which means that it couldn't reach up to here. Doesn't narrow much down for us, but yeah, it's something. Looking horizontally, we've got 2, 2. This has to be one of the 2s. If it was our rightmost 2, then it couldn't reach over to here. If it was our leftmost 2, we couldn't fit our rightmost 2 in, so it has to be our rightmost 2. So we can go ahead and say there's nothing here. Not much left that we can say definitively. The 2, this vertical 2 could fit above or below this X. Our 4 could go either way here. Our 2 could go either way here. All right, we need to fit 2, 2, 1 in here. So 1, 2, space, 1, space, 1, 2. So we know that this pixel has to be filled in. No, I'm wrong. 1, 2, space, 1, 2, space, 1, or 1, space, 1, 2, space, 1, 2. Okay, we know that this pixel has to be filled in. And I think 1, space, 1, 2, space, 1, 2, or 1, 2, space, 1, 2. All right, now we're getting somewhere. That tells us that this pixel can't be filled in because our 4 has shifted over a little bit. We've got our 3. All right, that tells us our 3, our horizontal 3 can't reach to here, which tells us our vertical 2 can't be here or here. It has to be here. With that in place, we know that our horizontal 3 has to be there. We can close all that out. Tells us our vertical 2 has to be here. Close this off. That tells us our vertical 3 has to fill in this pixel, which tracks. This has to be part of our horizontal 2, which means that this has to be filled in for our vertical 2, this has to be filled in for our vertical 2, and this has to be filled in for our vertical 1, which lets us close this off. Horizontal 4 has to go here now. That closes this off, which gives us an upper, or a lower edge for our vertical 3, so close that off. Close that off. Close this off. It's finished off our 1s. Means that we just need to put that there, and we're done. A lever. All right, let's move on to nonogram 43. It is 12 wide by 13 tall. Boy, these are getting harder. 1, 2, 3, space, 1, 2, 3, 4, space, 1, 2. We can't really say anything about this 2, but we could say 1, 2, space, 1, 2, 3, 4, space, 1, 2, 3. So there's 2 pixels of wiggle room. Does that track? 5, 9. Yeah, there's 2 pixels of wiggle room. So we know that our 3 has to be there. Our 4 has to fill in there, I think. 1, 2, 3, space, 1, 2, 3, 4, space, 1, 2, or 1, 2, space, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Okay, so we've got something. And then we've kind of got the opposite over here. So 1, 2, 3, space, 1, 2, 3, 4, space, 1, 2, or 1, 2, space, 1, 2, 3, 4, space, 1, 2, 3. I really should be using, there's another button that I should be using. 1, 2, 3, space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We know that these 2 pixels have to be filled in for this horizontal 5, 3. Let's look at this horizontal 6, 5. This is where I should have started. Horizontal 6, 5 is easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Completely fills it in. That then lets us eliminate a whole bunch of this vertical column because of the 3. And we can eliminate some of the 5 there. And eliminate a lot of this vertical column because of the vertical 2. And the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So these cannot be filled in. with that in place, we can look at our horizontal 2, 3 here. We know that that has to be our 2. And we can further say this pixel has to be filled in for our 3. We can also go a little bit further on our horizontal 5, 3 here. We know that this pixel has to be filled in for it. We can now look at our verticals up here. So we've got this vertical 4, so there's no way that this pixel isn't filled in. Same story right here. There's just not enough room for them not to be. Now there could be a space here, or this could be filled in to connect to the next bit. We don't know yet. But it's something. That gives us some answer. We know that this, so we've got this horizontal 3, 4. We know that we can't reach to this because we couldn't fit a 3 in those 2 spots and then have space for a 4. So that has to be there. 2, 3, 4. So our 4, so like assuming that we've got a rightmost alignment, so 1, 2, 3 space 1, 2, 3, 4. These 3 pixels have to be filled in for our 4, which now tells us, all right, this pixel has to be filled in for our vertical 5. Means that these pixels can be ruled out for that vertical 5. Got a horizontal 3, 1, 4. So that's gonna have to reach out to at least here. Because if our 4 was starting over here and going left, that's where it would be. Alternatively, it could start here and end with this pixel. Either way. With that filled in, we can look at our vertical 5 too and say, all right, vertical, that has to be part of our 5. The 5 couldn't reach up to here. Similarly, vertical 4, 4 has to be one of the 4s, couldn't fit another 4 up here, so this has to be blocked out. Which then lets us look at our horizontal 5 and say, all right, can't fit a 5 in here. Means that this pixel has to be filled in for the 5 there. This pixel has to be filled in for the 5 there. Which tells us our horizontal 2 there has to be closed off. And also up here, we've got 1 pixel of wiggle room left for our horizontal 5, but it has to go in there. Which tells us these 2 pixels have to be filled in for our vertical 4. With that in place, that completes our 3. Means that our 4 has to go here horizontally, which means that our 3 has to go there. Completes our horizontal 4 there. 1 space 1, 2, 3. This has to fill in. There's no way to fit the 3 and the 1 in here that doesn't include that. Because this is now 3 tall, that tells us that this has to be part of our 4. So we can go ahead and complete that. It means that we know that this pixel has to be filled in for our 3, and that our 2 has to fill in there, which gives us the completion for our horizontal 5. Beautiful. Because this is 4 wide, we know that it is 4 of the 5 pixels of our horizontal 5, which means that we still need to get a 3 in here. That 3 has to go there. Means that our 5 has to go there. That completes our 4 here. That completes our 5 here and here. Beautiful. There's still a 2 that goes in here. There's a 4 that goes in here. So these 2 pixels have to go in to complete our vertical 4. I don't know that. Alright, here we go. Looking at our vertical 4, 1, 2, couldn't fill this in because then it would be a 5. This has to be closed out. That gives us our 1 and our 4. With that filled in, that tells us we can't go over here. We also can corroborate that with our vertical 4, 2, 3. We can look at this vertical 3 and say, all right, that has to be there, which then means our horizontal 3, this is complete. With that in place, that gives us our vertical 4. Got a vertical 4 completed there, so vertical 2 now complete as well. We can look at our horizontal 1, 5, and we know that this has to be our 5. There's no way for it not to be. Lets us look at our vertical 5, 2 and say 2 couldn't reach down to here. Going back over to this side, we've got this horizontal 3. That has to fill in that pixel, which then tells us our vertical 4 has to be like that. We've also got this horizontal 5 that has to fill in there, which completes our vertical 2, which lets us complete our horizontal 3, which lets us complete our horizontal, or our vertical 4. Meaning that we know that this pixel isn't filled in from our vertical 2, it just couldn't reach. We've got a horizontal 5, and there's only 5 pixels left there. That completes our vertical 2. We also know that our vertical 4 couldn't reach to here, vertical 4 couldn't reach to here. We've got a vertical 2 that we can go ahead and close out. There we go. Got a horizontal 3 that needs to be filled in and only 3 pixels left, so that closes that. That in turn lets us say this column is done, we've got a 1, 4, and this column is done, we've got a 4, 4. We've got a vertical 4, 5, we've already got the 4, the 5 has to reach down to at least here, which completes our horizontal 2, 3. This has to be our only pixel for that, which then lets us know, okay, that's our pixel there, completes our horizontal 5, 1, 2. We need a 2 here, so that has to go there, which now means this pixel has to be here. Completed a flower. Alright, on to nonogram 44. Alright, this is 11 tall and 11 wide. One space, one, 2 space, 1 space, 1. That's unfortunate. Wait. 1 space, 1 space, 1, 2 space, 1, 2 space, 1. Okay, never mind. I'm an idiot. We can go ahead and completely fill in this row, and then same exact story with the one above it. Easy. That actually tells us some interesting things here. We've got this vertical 5, 1. But we know that these two being adjacent have to be part of the 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the highest point that the 5 could be. So we can go ahead and close those two off. Don't think we can say the same for anything else. No. But, okay, looking vertically over here, we've got a vertical 1, 2, 1. That has to be our 2 right there. Does that help us? Yes, it does. Because it means that we can say our 6 has to live there horizontally because we need space for a 1. The other one could be on either of these, but we at least know that now. That looking vertically, we've got a 1, 3, 1. This has to be our 3. So now we can do kind of the same thing. 1 space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we know that those 4 have to be filled in for our 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, space 1. So we can go ahead and fill those 4 in. The other one could be on either of these. So 1 possibly either spot here. 1 space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With all of that in place, we can look vertically again. We've got a 1, 2, 1. This has to be our 2 right here. How else can we extrapolate? I'm looking at this 1, 2, 1 there, or 1, 2, 2. There's not room to fit 2 2s down here. You can only fit 1 2, and then there's not enough space for another 2. So this has to be one of our 2s. So we can go ahead and close that off, which does complete our 5. That's good news. With that in place, what else can we do? Alright, so this has to be part of our 5. So this could be our 5th pixel down here. There's nothing past those 5. Similarly, this has to be part of our vertical 6. So that could come down 2 pixels, couldn't come down to here. Unfortunately, doesn't super narrow things down for us, but 1 space, 1 space. No. Alright, actually, no, yes. 1 space, 1 space, 1. Damn, no. There's still some slop here. Alright, same story here though. We know that our 6 couldn't reach down to here. So I think that we can use that to determine. So there's room for 2 1s here. Nope, doesn't quite tell us what I want to know. Alright. What else can I infer? Okay, looking at our horizontals here, we have to have our 5 here. There's just nowhere else that it could be. Which lets us close out this 5 right here. And that's actually really good because that lets us close out this 1, so that closes the lower half of that column. And I think we can look at this row of 5 1s. We can fit 2 1s to the left of this X and 2 1s to the right of this X. But we couldn't fit more than that on either one, which means that we have to have one of the 5 1s, the middle 5 1 right here, which lets us complete our 6. Gosh, that unfortunately does leave us a little stymied as to where to go next. Okay, here we go. Vertical 1, 2, 2. So we can fill in this 2. Lets us complete that. That in turn lets us know that this pixel and this pixel have to be filled in because we can only fit 2 pixels on the other side. We have to have 2 over here. And because we've got those in there, we can look at our vertical 1s and say, all right, those have to be closed off. That's really good news for us. Because we can now look at this and say, all right, there's nothing here. This has to be a 1 horizontally, and also there's not another 1 between our vertical 3 and 1. So that's closed off. Good stuff. Can I... Bring it there. I've been miscounting. The only way that this works is like that, which means that there can't be anything there. So now, okay, now we know there's only 2 pixels down here. We can close that off, and we can close that off. That's great. One of the pixels has to go here, but the other one has to go here and here. Because this is a vertical 5-1, we know that this pixel has to be filled in, which now lets us close that off. Horizontal 1-5-1, this has to be the 1. And now we can close this column off. It's actually really good because that lets us finally... Nope. Yeah. Finally lets us put in a solid pixel on there. Because our 5 has to come over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That lets us know, okay, this is not filled in because we've already completed our 1. Beautiful. Looking vertically, got 1, 2, 1. We've already got a 2 and a 1, so this can't be filled in. Which means that this has to be our remaining pixel there. That completes our 6. Looking vertically here, 1, 6, 1. We've already got our 1, so this has to be part of our 6. We can actually complete the rest of our 6. Gives us a right edge to work with on this and this. Dunsky. That means we can look vertically and say, alright, this has to be like that. That lets us fill these in. So we know that the 5 couldn't reach there. It means that there has to be a pixel here. Has to be a pixel here. Can't be a pixel here, so there has to be one here. This can't be filled in. Means this has to be filled in. Means that this has to be filled in as well. Got ourselves a little Grim Reaper. That's Nonogram 44. Alright, Nonogram 45. Oof. 15 wide and 15 tall. Well, good news. Go ahead and X a lot of stuff out because we've got these vertical zeros. Which in turn lets us look at our horizontal numbers that are greater than 1 and say, alright, you don't go here. Unfortunately, that doesn't tell us much because those columns are 1-1s, but still something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 2 pixels of wiggle room left on the 9 here. Similarly on our 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On our 11s here, those completely fill the space. Man, I'm missing a lot of inputs. Don't really have an explanation for that, I just am. Alright, and we can also fill that in. Now, if we look vertically, we can say, hey, we've got vertical 1s, so those are X'd out in text. We can also look vertically and say, hey, these have some 6s, which means that these have to be filled in. And actually going a step further, we've got an 1, 11, 1. Well, that's all of these pixels, so that's good. Looking vertically, we've got 9, 1. So if this was 1 space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Same story over here. those just have to be filled in. Which actually tells us a lot, because we've got these horizontal 1 1s, and that's the 2 1s. So close all that out, and we've got these horizontal 2s. Close those out, and we've got this horizontal 1 11 1 that we can fill in. Go, beautiful. And because we've got that big block in the middle, we can start closing out. There's our 6. There's another 6. This has to be part of our 6 here. Ooh, no. Like that. Ooh, almost screwed it up. This has to be like that. That. I feel like I'm going cross-eyed a little bit. We've got our 2 pixels in here. Great. There's only 2 pixels left on this row. So we can go ahead and close that out. We've completed our 7 here. We've completed our 9 here. Lets us complete our 9 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Lets us complete our 1s. Means that we need 7 up here. Only 2 pixels of wiggle room there. So we can infer just from context, gonna be like this. I don't love that last little step there, but whatever, it's fine. Got a button. And with that, that's our nonograms. Thank you all for watching. Appreciate y'all. I hate that I skipped 39, but it is what it is. Sometimes you get stuck. So, yeah. Have a good one. Bye.